Rumors have circulated on social media alleging that Leoda Bradshaw was impregnated by a policeman at the St. Catherine lockup she is being held at. Is there any truth to these rumors?
And so we heard the allegation and immediately commissioned an investigation around it. We also removed the officer who was so accused from the station, but our investigation to this point has not shown that there's any truth to the allegation. And so far, the allegation seems to be false.
Thank you.
So the Commissioner of Police did not say Leoda Bradshaw is not pregnant. Him say enough seems to be true because them are do investigation. Then if you do investigation over the past few weeks, you know must know if somebody pregnant or not, brother. You must know if somebody pregnant, you know. Over the past few weeks, you know, do investigation and I hear the story, and then you say it no seems to be true. That means that you're not sure. People don't hear what the man say, man. The man say it no seems to be true. So the argument that I am hearing is that the DPP are seek the death penalty for Leoda Bradshaw. But if Leoda Bradshaw is pregnant, then they cannot seek a death penalty for her. And then again, she's an American citizen, so America are going to get involved and maybe come down for her if go make she get good treatment until the trial date she come back to come stand her trial. So people, you know see what they go on in another case, money running up people. Money running up. Me can tell you I say big money running in another case. But bless up to my viewers and my subscribers them. Me hope everybody having a blessed and a wonderful evening. Now my viewers and my subscribers, remember, in everything you do, always put God first. In every and any situation, just always remember to call upon God. Always remember to pray. Because a prayer day keep the devil away. Now my viewers and my subscribers, them always say, why in the dark must come to light. And me feel like them a play with the people them. In the first place, the Commissioner of Police never kill the argument when them ask him about Leoda being pregnant. Therefore, him try to go round it. Him could have simply kill the argument and say, listen, that rumor is a lie. Nothing no go so. Nothing no go like how them attack. You understand me? I say, but therefore, what him do? Him say, them remove the police officers that are involved. Plus, not just that. Him say, them are do investigation. So the rumor no seems to be true. It no seems to be true. Him never say it not true. But it no seems to be true. So therefore, him still cannot answer the question straight. But people, if you no listen to this man, you can say, this man nah speak the truth. Not even say him nah speak the truth, but him just no one put himself in no hot water where him go say, boy, I lie them I tell no go so, she not pregnant and this and that. And then later on, people say, oh, you say she not pregnant, but she pregnant, allegedly. You understand me? I say, so him no want look like a liar. So him just say, listen, it no seems to be true. But them a carry out investigation. For 2 weeks or more now carry out investigation and you can't know if the argument is true or not. Come on, man. But people, we are going to run the intro and come back and talk some more because Everald Warmington rush up Fayval Williams and rush up the JLP them in a parliament, people. So, we so forward. So welcome back to my viewers and my subscribers them. Big up to all of my viewers. Big up to all of my subscribers them. We continually support the channel and help the channel to grow. Now, remember to leave a like on this video. Remember to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're a new viewer first time on my channel, then please subscribe to my channel and turn on the post notification bell so whenever we drop new content, you will be first to be notified. Alright, now my viewers and my subscribers. Everald Warmington mau chip out in a parliament today, and not even him leader couldn't tell him to sit down. Everald Warmington tell himself to shut them out and sit down after him a pressure Fayval Williams about certain things, people. You understand? It's like Everald Warmington I say, yo, yeah, we're going to see the other day when me went in a my problem, none of you never did a stand up for me, you know. So now that uno in a problem, me a pressure uno some more answer. Instead of the PNP, fear pressure Fayval Williams. Everald Warmington, I do the PNP the favor by pressuring Fayval Williams. And when him JLP supporters, him a try to tell himself to sit down. Him tell himself he shut them out in a parliament. And him leader did it, Andrew Wellness did it, and could have not even said nothing at all to me, sir. Lashy. You understand? Because Mama Lashy has just lash out everything. You see me? So people, me I go play the video so you guys can have a better understanding of what I am talking about. But remember to leave a like on this video. Remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed as yet, and turn on the post notification bell for new content. Alright?
A bill shortly entitled the Appropriation Amendment Act 2024 read the first time.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, I beg to give notice of second reading of the bill. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, I further beg to give notice that at a later stage today, I will move on his behalf for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me on his behalf to take second reading of the bill and to take it through all its concluding stages.
Minister Grinch, public business. Public business, Minister Grinch.
Mr. Speaker, I now move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take the motion, notice of which I gave earlier.
The question is that the standing order be suspended to enable the minister to take the motion, notice of which she had given earlier. Those in favor? Those against? Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the motion of which I gave notice earlier be approved.
The question is that the motion notice of which the minister gave earlier be approved. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Minister Williams.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, I now move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me on his behalf to take second reading of the bill, notice of which I gave on his behalf earlier, and also for me to take it on his behalf through all its concluding stages.
The question is for the standing orders to be suspended to enable the minister to take the second reading of the bill, notice of which she gave earlier, and also for her to take it through all its concluding stages. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? Ayes have it. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the purpose of the amendments to the Appropriation Act 2024 is to exclude the amounts related to statutory expenditures that were inadvertently included in the Act. These amounts are shown in Table 1, which accompanies this brief, which represents a summary of the 2024-2025 central government expenditure budget as amended and approved by the Standing Finance Committee in March 2024. Mr. Speaker, the amendments are necessary as the Constitution stipulates that statutory expenditures shall not be voted on by the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, statutory expenditures are expenditures that are charged on the consolidated fund or on the general revenues and assets of Jamaica by virtue of provision in the Constitution or by virtue of the provisions of any other law in force. Mr. Speaker, the amendments are to enable compliance with Section 116(3) of the Constitution, which indicates that amounts classified as statutory expenditure in the estimates of expenditures shall not be voted on by the House of Representatives and should therefore not be included in the Appropriation Act. Mr. Speaker, the amendments to the Appropriation Act 2024 do not affect the heads of estimates, which do not include provisions for statutory expenditures. Neither do the amendments affect the aggregate 2024-2025 central government expenditure estimates of $1.341 trillion. So in effect, Mr. Speaker, in the estimates of expenditure, the Yellow Book, all those numbers are correct. Mr. Speaker, the sections of the Act to be amended are 1, Section 2 to be amended to reflect the current aggregate voted sum, excluding statutory expenditures, of $817,265,242,000 instead of $849,896,471,000. Column 2 of the schedule in relation to the affected heads of expenditure to be amended by replacing the figures on the sums granted, which include statutory expenditures, with the sums excluding statutory expenditures which are to be voted by Parliament and included in the Appropriation Act. Mr. Speaker, the affected heads of estimates and the sums involved are as follows. So on the heads, His Excellency the Governor General and staff, the sum in the Appropriation Act 2024, including statutory provisions, was $532,852,000. The amended sum, excluding statutory provisions, is $149,664,000. Houses of Parliament, $2,439,963,000. The amended sum is $413,290,000. Office of the Public Defender, $394,357,000. The amended sum is $367,106,000. Office of the Auditor General, $1,404,352,000. The amended sum is $1,380,839,000. Office of the Services Commissions, $518,977,000. The amended sum is $500,354,000. Office of the Children's Advocate, $386,665,000. The amended sum is $359,172,000. Independent Commission of Investigations, $837,299,000. The amended sum is $809,134,000. Integrity Commission, $1,851,371,000. The amended sum is $1,812,771,000. Independent Fiscal Commission, 273,482,000. The amended sum is 257,690,000 pensions. 44 billion. The amended sum is 13,856,376,000. Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, 820,874,000. The amended sum is 799,804,000. And finally, the Judiciary, 9,431,721,000. The amended sum is 7,554,474,000. Mr. Speaker, with the exclusion of the sums classified as statutory expenditure, the subtotals referenced as carried forward and brought forward in column 2 at the bottom of the appropriation bill and at the bottom and the top of each page of the schedule are to be amended as follows. So if we look at page 3, we would be deleting the figure 45,868,243 carried forward and replacing it with the figure 45,278,965,000. Page 4, deleting the figure 45,868,253,000 brought forward on page 4 and replacing with the figure 45,278,965,000. On page 4, deleting the figure 323,464,000. 323,464,312,000 carried forward on page 4 and replacing with the figure 292,731,400,000. Page 5, deleting the figure 323,464,312,000 brought forward and replacing with the figure 292,731,400,000. Page 6. Okay. Page 6, deleting the figure 454,238,039,000 brought forward and replacing it with the figure 421,606,810,000. Page 6, deleting the figure 799,034,682,000 carried forward and replacing with the figure 766,403,453,000. Page 7, deleting the figure 799,034,682,000 brought forward and replacing with the figure 766,403,453,000. The total figure on page 7, representing total sum granted, is to be amended by deleting the figure 849,896,471,000 and replacing with the figure 817,265,242,000.
Mr. Speaker, it's quite unprecedented that less than 2 weeks after the close of a budget debate, we would be called back to address a matter of this nature. I want to ask what has given rise to the errors that were made in including the public bodies and the other entities. And I ask within the context that these are technocrats who have been preparing budgets for many, many years. And from my recollection, I can't recall ever having a situation like this. And I ask also within the context that while human error is not fatal, I would expect that there are checks and balances within the process that if someone makes a mistake, it would be caught somewhere later down before it is actually brought to the Parliament, tabled, voted and passed by the Parliament. And secondly, I want to ask what is the material effect of the error that has taken place and whether it has affected the warrants that are issued to these public bodies and agencies, and whether that has in any way impacted their ability to execute their functions, pay their bills, honor the obligations that they have.
You want to answer the now? At the same time, Mr. Speaker, was this estimate of expenditure reviewed by the Auditor General? I believe that she normally goes through, our department goes through this and send a report back to Parliament approving or making a recommendation. The question is, was this done by the Auditor General? And it was, if it was done by the Auditor General, as done in all of the cases, how come she didn't pick this up and send it back to Parliament? The appropriate person to have found this is the Auditor General. Is the Auditor General. So the issue is, was she sleeping in the job? Or what? That she didn't find this when she approved the estimate of expenditure that came back here.
Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In responding to the questions from the member, if you look in the Yellow Book, it will be clear that it was an error in transposing figures from the Table 1 that I gave you into the Appropriations Act. The fact that it was discovered quickly, and we're here to correct that, I applaud that, because sometimes when errors are made, persons don't step forward to say this is an error that was made. So this was just an error in copying a set of numbers into the Appropriations Act.
Mr. Speaker.
Hold on. There is a... Madam Minister.
The second part of the question, the impact, well, once we're done with this process, then it will enable the warrants to begin to go out.
Mr. Speaker, the second part of my question has not yet been answered. Was the estimate of expenditure reviewed by the Auditor General and so approved and certified? That's the second part of my question, but that part has not been answered as yet.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the corrections are sent to the House by the Minister of Finance and the Public Service.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, I asked a question, and the minister who's tabling this should answer without being prompted by anybody else and advise. It's a simple question I've asked. It's a simple question. She does not need advisors on this. Okay? It's customary for the Auditor General to go through the estimate of expenditure and send her approval. Certification. The question I'm asking, was that done by the Auditor General? If not, why? We have broken precedent.
Minister.
All right, Mr. Speaker, I'm advised that the Appropriation Act is not reviewed by the Auditor General. The Auditor General does not review the estimates. Thank you.
Oh, member, I will give you your time, but the other member was before you.
I want to follow up on the second part of my question, and I asked about the impact of the warrants. We are at the 9th of April, And I assume now having the correction, and we'll go through the process of passing it. My question remains, what impact will this have? Because without warrants, they can't spend. They may have obligations. Salaries would be due in another week and a half. What impact will this have on any of the agencies that are affected by the error?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, once we get through passing the appropriations, the amendment to the Appropriations Act this afternoon, it will enable the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service to issue warrants to continue the work of the government.
Mr. Speaker, the minister simply repeated the answer given before, which is not a responsive answer to the question asked. My question is, I will ask the question in a different way. Can the minister assure the Parliament that there is no adverse implication from this amendment or any liabilities arising therefrom?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is no adverse impact on the affairs of the government from doing this. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the point I was getting at is after the estimate of expenses table in this House, you cannot proceed with the debate of the budget until we get a certification from or a response or review from the George, shut your mouth. George Hilton, leave me alone. I am saying here, Mr. Speaker. All right. I am saying...
Stop.
All right, I withdraw it.
Okay.
I withdraw it. I am saying, Mr. Speaker, the point is
wait, man.
that after the budget is laid in this House, you cannot commence the budget debate until after review of the Auditor General. That's what I was getting at, Mr. Speaker. That's all I was getting at.
Any other comment? If there is none, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, I ask that the bill be read a second time.
The question is that the bill be read a second time. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it.
A bill entitled, An Act to Amend the Appropriation Act 2024 to include all expenditure classified as statutory expenditure and for connected matters, read a second time, sorry.
The House will now resolve itself into a committee of the whole House to consider the bill clause by clause. I put clause 1. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it. I put clause 2. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it. I put clause 3. Those in favor? Those against the ayes have it. I put the title and enacting clause. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The question is that I do report the bill as having passed committee stage without any amendments. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The House will now resume to its full sitting. one. I do report the bill as having passed committee stage without any amendments. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I now ask that the bill be read a third time.
The question is that the bill be read a third time. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
A bill entitled An Act to Amend the Appropriation Act 2024 to exclude all expenditure classified as statutory expenditure and for connected matters read a third time and passed.
This House now stand. House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is not contemplated for us to do any further business today. I therefore ask that the House adjourns for a date to be fixed.
The question is on the floor. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. This House now stands adjourned.